Hey world, what up? Back in on a Bleacher Report article with Mr. Zach Buckley, and wanted to check out kind of the first 2 to 3 weeks of the NBA season of it's kind of downfalls of a couple teams and NBA players that want to get traded, different scenarios that kind of work out there. So let's kind of jump in the beginning of the NBA season and kind of flirt around with different NBA rumors and trade ideas. So Mr. Buckley, let's get into it. Nothing for me to kind of jump into originally. Number one is always going to be James Harden. And Philadelphia right now has a 6-1 record, or maybe 7-1, one of those two. They're top in the Eastern Conference. They're keeping Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. They're not blowing it up. And Daryl Morey even expressed he doesn't want to trade away Ben Simmons. So I think that was probably the best spot for Houston to make a trade for. That's out the window. The Brooklyn Nets, Spencer did when he's out. That's out the window. The Miami Heat, they may be a team in the making to make that push. They are 3-4 right now in the Eastern Conference, and there's no chance you're getting Giannis because he re-signed with the Milwaukee Bucks for 5 more years. So if you're Miami right now, you may kind of start to pudge yourself. You're 3-4 with a losing record. You may want to take that chance to pair Jimmy Butler with James Harden. So that could be one of the main spots as well. Let's jump into here and then other players would kind of pop up in my head. But as a number one, the Dallas Mavericks, who I believe have a 3-4 record in the West. It is still early as it is. Kristaps Porzingis has not returned with the Mavericks as he is injured as of right now, and Dallas is trying to fix their team up. So some rumors, some talks of bringing in a third star. I don't think that's the case that they need. I just think they need to bring back Kristaps Porzingis with Luka, be a dynamic duo, a 1-2 punch, and bring in shooters around them and some dogs. I like Amir Johnson on the team being a dog on your chemistry-wise franchise. But let's jump into here. 2-team trade. So he's saying that the Dallas Mavericks will receive Zach LaVine and Thaddeus Young from the Chicago Bulls. And in return, the Bulls will receive Tim Hardaway Jr., James Johnson, Tyrell Terry, and a 2025 first-round pick. So automatic. If you're the Bulls, that's not happening. Zach LaVine is around 25, 26 years of age. He is a young stud in the making. They're not going to trade Chicago. They're not going to trade away Zach LaVine for that low of a price. If Tim Hardaway Jr., who could be replaceable easily. Now he's a nice young cat, but his peak is pretty much a 6-man of the year type player, somewhere in that mix. He can still start on a couple franchises, but that's kind of iffy. James Johnson, he's pretty much around 30, 35 in that range. He'll probably be out of the NBA in the next 2-3 seasons. And then a first-round pick in Tyrell Terry. Nice young piece, first-round pick. No. The Mavericks will have to throw in another first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and maybe one of their younger cats as well, like Jalen Brunson or who else they got? Somewhere like that. But that's not happening for Chicago. If you're the Mavericks, you take that in a heartbeat. The Mavericks will have to throw in more moving pieces to make that happen, and even if they do, Chicago still probably wouldn't take that. They need a young stud. Chicago wants draft picks, and they want a young stud. Chicago's direction is really vague as of right now, so no. But if you're Dallas, you still don't need a third star. You don't. You're still young with Luka, this is his 3rd season, and then Porzingis, which is like his 6th. All right, number 2. The Indiana Pacers and the Portland Trailblazers will swap shooting guards. Okay, so Indiana will receive C.J. McCollum and C.J. Ellaby. And the Blazers, they'll ship off C.J. McCollum. And in return, they'll get Victor Oladipo, Doug McDermott, and a first-round pick of 2021. Automatic. Yeah, I'm not crazy for that. If you're Portland, there's no way you're letting go of C.J. McCollum, who's been playing alongside with Damian Lillard for around 6 to 7 seasons just to get Victor Oladipo, who's been injured for the last year and who's been declining somewhat. That makes 0 sense. Now, if you're the Indiana Pacers, that would be a huge trade that you can get C.J. McCollum, that you can be one of the top 4, top 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference and be a true threat and contender. But nah, that's not happening. All right, the Atlanta Hawks are going to add All-Star, and the Raptors get younger and deeper. Okay, I think I know where this is going. So the Atlanta Hawks, they're going to receive Pascal Siakam, Aaron Baines, and Matt Thomas. And the Toronto Raptors, In return, instead of for them letting go Pascal Siakam pretty much go away, in return they're going to get John Collins, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Porter, and Tony Snell. So if the Raptors go that direction, you're still going to have Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet on the team, Norman Powell, and then if you add Collins, Capella, DeAndre Hunter in the crew, so they would go pretty much young in a new direction. But Pascal Siakam is still around 25, 26 years of age, and he's pretty much the new franchise player they put all their eggs in the basket. Even though Pascal Siakam has been inconsistent and haven't been playing up to par so far, they're not going to let go of Pascal Siakam for that. Now, if you're the Atlanta Hawks, that's a trade you would want to go down with. Even though John Collins and DeAndre Hunter are valuable pieces for potential in the future, but if you can get Trae Young, you can pair him with Bojan Bogdanovic, Danilo Gallinari, and Pascal Siakam, who has a championship under his belt and has experience and potential. You make sure you get that deal to go down if you're Atlanta. I'm really liking that. I think Atlanta should really explore a trade for that. But I doubt Toronto would even do that and even have that phone conversation. But, fun food for thought. Let's see here. Surprise winner of the James Harden sweepstakes. So instead of the 76ers, the Nets, the Heat, Bucks, etc., let's just say it's the Chicago Bulls. They're going to receive James Harden and Ben McLemore. In return, the Houston Rockets will rebuild and blow it up. In return, they'll receive Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Larry Markkinen, Cristiano Felicio, the 2021 first-round pick, the 2023 first-round pick, which is top 3 protected, and the 2025 first-round pick, top 5 protected. So essentially, the Houston Rockets would give away James Harden and Ben McLemore, and they would rebuild for these young cats. It's not a good fit. You do have John Wall and Boogie Cousins, so they would have to blow that up and make some other trades on the side. But essentially, if you're the Houston Rockets, if you're going to trade away James Harden, number 1 guy should be Ben Simmons on your radar. Number 2 should be Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, and those young cats over there from Miami. And Zach LaVine would be a nice fit, but the thing is, Zach LaVine can't even get you in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. How in the world are you going to build a team around him in the West, essentially? But if you're the Chicago Bulls, they're in no direction at all. The Bulls haven't made the playoffs ever since Derrick Rose was in the picture. Actually, I believe not. Yeah, Derrick Rose like in 2014 or whatever year that was, 2015. It's been around 5 seasons for Chicago. They haven't made the playoffs. You did bring in Zach LaVine, Larry Markkinen. We thought they would be a dynamic duo, but for the last 2 seasons, due to injuries and just inconsistency, they haven't been there. So if you're Chicago, you make sure you get James Harden. But if you're Houston, that doesn't make sense on that. Last trade proposal here. A 3-team trade for James Harden, Ben Simmons. Okay. So Philadelphia, they're going to receive James Harden and Bol Bol. The Nuggets are going to receive Ben Simmons and Matthias Tazbuli. The Houston Rockets will receive Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr., RJ Hampton, the 2021 first-round pick, 2023, and 2025. So essentially, if you're Philadelphia, and if the only person you're giving away is Ben Simmons and Matthias Tazbuli, and you get James Harden, that's something that can make sense for them on their side. Now, I'm not crazy about that because if I'm Philadelphia, you want to keep Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid as a dynamic duo for another 3 seasons before they're free agents. See how that project works. I wouldn't rush it if I'm Philadelphia for James Harden, but in this day and age in the NBA with management, people are impatient. So I wouldn't knock them if they did that. For Denver, if you're going to receive Ben Simmons and you get to keep Jamal Murray and Jokic on your team, Denver would be a top 2 seed in the Western Conference, and they would destroy the West in the next 5-6 years in a row. Well, after LeBron retires, but if you're Denver, that's very ideal. But there's no way that the Rockets are going to give away James Harden and not get Ben Simmons, and they only get Michael Porter Jr. in return. Pretty much with RJ Hampton, Gary Harris's subpar, okay contract, a little big, 3 first-round picks. That's not happening if you're the Rockets. If you're giving away James Harden, you're getting Ben Simmons. So the winner of that is the Denver Nuggets. But overall, the main picture is James Harden when it comes down to these scenarios. And I don't expect Pascal Siakam to be in trade rumors. Even though the Raptors, if they don't make the playoffs or they're low in the East, they're not going to give away Pascal Siakam. Maybe Kyle Lowry first, but not Pascal. When it comes down to Zach LaVine, I expect the Chicago Bulls mid-season to put him on the trade market. And I would not be surprised if they let go of Zach LaVine mid-season with Larry Markkinen. To where Zach LaVine will go to, I'm unsure of as of right now. And then when it comes to CJ McCollum, he's not going to get traded from Portland. And Victor Oladipo, he's probably going to have to stay with the Indiana Pacers. I don't really know what's out there in the market that they can trade for. Besides from that, we'll kind of kick it up on here. More NBA news coming up, and we'll finish.